The Mystery of the Cupboard by Reid Banks, Chapter 2, Kitsa Goes Missing. They moved in August. It hadn't been so hard after all to leave the old house on the hobble road. Henri had secretly been quite glad to in the end. After all, his room had been totally wrecked by the big storm. For months he'd slept on a mattress on the floor and done his homework at an ordinary old table and thought about all the things that the storm had demolished or blown away. His market-bought chest had been destroyed, along with his Japanese table, his desk, his collections, and all his other stuff, his links with childhood. It was time for a new start. "Dad," he asked at one stage when they were packing up, "will you have the same bank?" "A different branch, but yes," said his father. But then he understood. "Ah, your mysterious package that you asked me to have them put in their vault. Don't worry, Henri, they'll keep it safe." "But will they move it to the bank near our new house?" "I'll make sure they do," said his father. Henri wrote to Patrick, his friend and the sharer of his greatest secret, on the day before moving day. "Dear Patrick, we're moving to the country tomorrow. Wish it was near you, but it's the other way. We'll be further apart than ever. I'll write the new address at the end. Keep in touch. Dad says it will come to the new place with us, to the new bank. I hope you're keeping Boone safe. I'm taking Little Bear and Bright Stars with me, and Matron and Fickets. I mean, I'm carrying them. I'll find somewhere safe for them in my new room. I just wanted you to know I'm taking all my other plastic figures too, not that we'll do anything about them. Hope you're okay and that your mum has planted a new orchard after the storm. You must come and visit us in the new house. It's quite fun. Lots of old barns and stuff. And there's hens that the last owner, he died, he was very old, Mum says he was my removed cousin or something, left. Their eggs have very orange yolks, like almost red. A neighbour's been looking after them, and Dad wants to keep them. And there's a wood and a river, and the sea quite close, and Mum says we might have a pony. Bye, Henri. P.S. I'm dreading starting a new school. It's the local comp, of course. I went to meet the head. It's a woman. She's an improvement over Mr. Johnson, anyhow. Her name's Mrs. Everest. She wears a wig that looks just like a big tea cozy." 2 days after the move, 2 frantic, chaotic days which followed a frantic, chaotic fortnight packing up, Henri was standing out in the lane that ran alongside their longhouse. Both his parents and his brothers were indoors trying to make some kind of order of the various rooms, which were still so jammed with the mass of unsorted furniture and crates that you could hardly move around. The reason Henri wasn't with them was because he was desperately hunting for Kitsa. She had come from London in the moving van in a cat basket. Too near to this, as it turned out, had been a large silk lampshade, When they arrived, the lampshade was found in shreds, ripped by Kitsa's resentful claws, reached out through the bars of the cat basket. The moment Henri had let her out, his mother, who was at the end of her rope, shouted at her, "You wicked animal! You've ruined my best lamp!" She made a swipe at her. Kitsa had fled, and Henri hadn't seen her since. "She'll be back," said his mother, who, when things calmed down, felt awful about her, tried to comfort him, but he was frantic with worry. How could she find her way back when she didn't know this was now her home? He had already searched the whole property, the hen-house, the pigsty, the workshop, the barn, as well as the paddock and the wood, which ran down to a little river. He'd called her till he was hoarse. He was miserable, absolutely miserable. Nobody could cheer him up, even though Guillaume tried. "She'll come back," he said. "She's just giving us a hammering because we moved her." Now, as Henri stood in the lane and called her without much hope, up the lane came not Kitsa, alas, but a red postal van, which stopped at their gate. The postman leaned out. "Missile Hay farmhouse?" he asked. Henri said it was. "Long time since there were any post here, he said. "You moved in, I expect. Been empty a good while, and the old man never got no letters to speak of. Real recluse he was. Well, this be for you by the looks of it. Kid's writing." He handed Henri a letter. It was addressed to him, and it was from Patrick. Henri read it at once, standing in the lane. "Dear Henri, thanks for the letter. I looked on the map. Blimey, you're a long way off. Too bad. Don't know when we'll get a chance to meet. I'll work on my mum to go on holiday near you, but I bet she won't. She likes going over to Calais on the ferry to shop every chance she gets. dead boring, except the boat trip. She spends every minute in the French supermarket buying stuff we can easily get in Safeways at home. Crazy. I've been thinking, I wish you hadn't put it in the bank. I know why you did, but still, every time I look at Boone, I get lonely for him and wonder how he's getting on. I sometimes imagine I'm in Texas, so that Boone comes back here and I talk to him. Don't laugh, you pillock. I bet you feel the same about Little Bear. Guess what? My aunt came to visit and brought Emma. Thompson was at summer ski camp. Yay! It was great. We talked and talked about them. She'd brought Ruby Lou and we played with them and pretended they were alive, only we had to stop because Em started crying. She's okay, though, really. She said the same as me, that she wished you hadn't put it in the bank. She said you should have asked us first. You couldn't change your mind, could you? Good luck with your new school and the tea cozy. Maybe she's bald underneath it. You'll have to try to make it fall off and see. My school's a real toilet. See ya, Patrick. P.S. Em and Tamsin are still at the old school. Em told me Mr. Johnson fell off his bicycle into some prickly bushes. She says he's never been the same since the day of the storm. Keeps talking to himself. There's a rumor he's gone a bit irregular. That's our school slang for balmy. This letter at least took Omri's mind off Kitsa for a while. After reading it, he went up to his room. He had chosen one of the inner bedrooms so that he would be the one who had to pass through Guillaume's room to get to the stairs, and not the other way around. It was not a perfect arrangement, but better than Guillaume having right-of-way through his room. He'd made Guillaume, who had been desperate for the outside bedroom, promise always to knock if he did need to come in, which was unlikely. Omri was a very private person. He planned to put a bolt on, like his old room had. His new bed was up, and his desk. They were both pine wood. He decided to put up loads of shelves, or rather ask his dad to. His dad, however, was overwhelmed with work. Time you learn to put up shelves for yourself, he said shortly on day one. Okay, can I borrow your drill? No. So how can I? I'll do it eventually. Give me a chance. I'm up to my neck. Meanwhile, Omri made do with some planks he found. That was one great thing about this place. There was so much junk lying around, laid across piles of bricks. He cleaned them all first, and the shelves looked quite good. Since losing all his stuff in the storm, he'd collected a few books and some other bits and pieces, and these he arranged on the new shelves. He looked at the top shelf and thought how good it would look, standing right in the middle with its new coat of white paint and the new mirror and new mirror in the door. No, he mustn't be tempted. He'd made up his mind. No more of that. He'd promised himself. He must stick to what he'd decided. He fingered a small, neat parcel in his jeans pocket. Where to put it? Where would be a really safe place? Ah! He exclaimed aloud. He took 4 more bricks and turned them so that the indented sides faced each other. Then he opened the packet, put Little Bear and Bright Stars and the baby and the pony between 2 of the bricks, lying down in the little hollow, and on the other side, between the other 2 bricks, he laid Sergeant Fickets and Matron. He felt there was something faintly scandalous about them lying side by side like that, but, after all, they were plastic. Wherever they were in their real lives, they wouldn't know, and the main thing was for them to be safe from discovery. He laid another plank shelf across the top. Suddenly he stiffened, raising his head. He thought he heard. He rushed to the narrow window and leaned out, calling, but no, it must have been another cat. And we will pause there.